It's hard to tell. Her face seems open, but her tone regretful but firm. And she seems so lovely. Blonde hair winding down her back, flushed cheeks. None of that is supposed to matter, but somehow it does. And besides, even the officials don't dare dispute mealtime too much. We'll report this, the tallest one says. I'm sure that a citation of the highest order will be issued, with the next error resulting in complete infraction. My father nods. My mother glances back at the kitchen, to remind them that the food here is getting cold, possibly losing nutrients. The officials nod courteously at us one by one they leave, walking through the foyer, past the port, out the only door in the house. After they depart, the whole family sighs with relief. My father turns to us. I'm sorry, he says. I'm sorry. He looks at my mother and waits for her to speak. Don't worry about it, she says bravely. She knows that my father now has a mistake logged against him in the permanent database. She knows that it means grandfather is gone. But she loves my father. She loves him too much. I sometimes think. I think it now, because she isn't angry with him. How can I be? We sit down for dinner, my mother embraces him, and leans her head on his shoulder for a moment before she hands him his foilware. He reaches up to touch her hair and cheek. Watching them, I think to myself that someday something like this might happen to me and Xander. Our lives will be so intertwined that what one of us does will affect the other down to the ends. Like the tree that my mother transplanted once at the Aboriginum. She showed it to me when I came to visit her. It was a little thing, a baby tree, but it is tangled with things around it and requires care to move. And when she finally pulled it out, the roots still clung to the earth from which its old home. Did Kai do that when he came here? Did he bring anything with him? It would have been difficult. They would have searched him so carefully, and he had to adapt so quickly. Still, I don't see how he couldn't bring something, secret maybe, inside, intangable. Something to nourish him, something of home. Feet pounding, fist clenched, I hit the tracker running. I wish I could run outside, away from the sadness and shame in my house. Sweat trickles down the front of my gym gear, through my hair, across my face. I brush it away and glance back down at the tracker screen. There's a rise in curve in the tracker screen, a simulated hill. Good. I've reached the peak of my workout, the most difficult part, the fastest part. The tracker spines below me, and the machine named for its circular track where people use to compete, and named for what it does, tracking information about a person's running on it. If you run too far, you might be a masochist, or anorexic, or another type. And you will have to see the official of psychology for diagnosis. If it is determined that you are running hard because you're generally like it, then you can have an athletic permit. I have one. My legs ache a little. I look straight ahead and will myself to see grandfather's face within my mind, to hold it there. If there's really no chance for him to ever come back, then I am the one who has to keep him alive. The incline increases and I keep my pace, wishing for the feeling of climbing the hill earlier that day when we were hiking. Outside, branches and bushes and mud and sunlight, on the top of the hill with a boy who knows more than he will say. The tracker beeps, 5 minutes left before the workout ends. Before I run the distance and the time I should in order to keep my optimal heart rate and maintain my optimal body mass index. I have to be healthy. It's part of what makes us great, what keeps our lifespan long. All of the things that were shown in earlier studies to be good for longevity, happy marriages, healthy bodies, are ours to have. We live long, good lives. We die on our 80th birthday, surrounded by our family, before dementia sets in. Cancer, heart disease, and most debilitating illnesses are almost entirely eradicated. This is as close to perfect as any society has ever managed to get. My parents talk upstairs, my brother does his schoolwork, and I run to nowhere. Everyone in this house does what he or she is supposed to do. It is going to be alright. My feet hit the smack slap of the belt of the tracker, and I pound and worry out of me step by step. Step by step by step by step by step by step. I'm tired. I don't know if I can go any farther when the tracker beeps and slows to a stop. Perfect timing. Programmed by society, I bend my hand down, grasping for breath, sucking in air. There is nothing to see at the top of this hill. Bram sits on the edge of my bed waiting for me. He holds something. At first I think it's my compact, and I take a step forward, worried. Has he found the poetry? Then I realize that it is grandfather's watch, Bram's artifact. I sent a port message to the officials a few minutes ago, Bram says. His round eyes look up at me, tired and sad. Why did you do that? I asked, shocked. What would he want to see or talk to an official after what happened? Bram holds up the watch. I thought that maybe they could get enough tissue from this, since grandfather touched it so many times. Hope shoot through my vein like adrenaline. I pull a towel from a hook in my closet and wipe it across my face. What did they say? Did they respond? They sent back a message saying they wouldn't be enough. It wouldn't work. He rubs the shiny surface of the watch with his sleeve to clean away the smudge before where his fingers were. He looks at the face of the clock as if it can tell him something. But it can't. Bram doesn't even know how to tell time yet. And besides, grandfather's watch hasn't worked in decades. It is nothing but a beautiful artifact. Heavy, made of silver and glass. Nothing like the thin plastic strips we wear now. Do I look like grandfather? Bram asks hopefully. He slides the watch into his arm. It is loose around his thin waist. Skinny, brown-eyed, straight-backed, small. He does look a little like grandfather in this moment. You do. I wonder if there's anything of grandfather to see in me. I like hiking today. I like reading the 100 poems. Those things that were part of him are part of me. I think about the other grandparents I have out in the farmlands, and about Kai Markingham, and the other Providences, and about all the other things I do not know, and places I will never see. Bram smiles at my response and looks down proudly at his watch. Bram, you can't take that to school, you know. You could get in trouble. I know. You saw what happened to Papa when the officials got after him. You don't want them getting mad at you for breaking the rules about artifacts. I won't, he says. I know better than that. I don't want to lose it. He reaches for my silver box from the match banquet. Can I keep it in here? It seems like a good place. I know, special. He shrugs in embarrassment. All right, I say, a little nervously. I watched him open the silver box and put the artifact carefully inside, next to the microcard. He doesn't even glance at the compact sitting on the shelf, and for that I am grateful. Later that night, when it is dark and Bram has gone to bed, I open the compact and take the paper out. I do not look at it. Instead, I slip it into my pocket of my plainclothes for the next day. Tomorrow, I will try to find a trash incinerator away from the home to drop it in. I don't want anyone to catch me doing it here. It is too dangerous now. I lie down and look up at the ceiling, trying again to think of grandfather's face. I can't bring it back. Impatient, I roll over, and something hard presses at my side. My tablet container. I must have dropped it when I changed my plainclothes earlier. It isn't like me to be so careless. I sit up. The light from the street lamps outside come in foggy through the window, enough to see the tablets as I twist open the container and spill them out onto the bed. For a moment my eyes adjust. They all seem to be the same color, but then I can see which is which. The mysterious red tablet, the blue one that will help us survive any cause of any emergency, because even our society can't control nature all the time. And the green one. Most people I know take the green tablet now and then. Before a big test, the night of the match banquet, anytime you might need calming. You can take it up to once a week without the officials taking any special note of it. But I've never taken the green tablet, because of grandfather. I was so proud to show him when I started carrying it. Look, I told him, unscrewing the lid of the silver container. I got blue and green now. All I need is the red one, and I'll be an adult. Ah, grandfather says, looking proudly impressed. You are growing up for certain. He paused for a moment when we were walking outside in the green space near his apartment. Have you taken the green one yet? Not yet, I said, but I have to give a presentation on one of the 100 paintings in my culture class next week. I might take it then. I don't like speaking in front of everyone. Which painting? He asks. Number 19, I tell him. He looks thoughtful, trying to remember which one that is. He didn't know the 100 paintings as well as the 100 poems. But still, he knew it enough, though. The one by Thomas More, he guessed. I nod. I like the colors in that one, he said. I like the sky, I told him. It's so dramatic, all the clouds above and in the canyon. The painting felt a little dangerous. Streaming gray clouds, jagged red rocks, and I liked that too. Yes, he said, it is a beautiful painting. Like this, I said, even though the green space was beautiful in an entirely different way. The flowers bloomed everywhere in colors that were not allowed to wear. Pink, yellow, reds, almost startling in their boldness. They drew the eyes, they scented the air. Green space, green tablet, grandfather says, and then he looked at me and smiled. Green eyes on a green girl. That sounds like poetry, I said, and he laughed. Thank you, he paused for a moment. I won't take that tablet, Cassia. Not for a report. And perhaps not ever. You are strong enough to go without it. Now I lie down on my side, curl my hands around the green tablet. I don't think I'll take it. Not even tonight. Grandfather thinks I'm strong enough to go without it. I close my eyes and think of grandfather's poetry. Green tablet, green space, green eyes, green girl. When I fall asleep, I dream that grandfather has given me a bouquet of roses, and these instead of the tablet. He tells me, so I do. I pull the petals off of each rose. To my surprise, each petal has a word written on it, a word from one of the poems. They're not even in the right order, and this puzzles me. But I put them to my mouth and taste them. They taste bitter. That way I imagine the green tablet would taste. But I know Grandfather's right. I have to keep the words inside if I want to keep them with me. When I wake in the morning, the green tablet is still in my hand, and the words still in my mouth.